All right, good morning everybody. It is Saturday, it is the weekend, and we're gonna do a little tinkering on this truck today. It snowed overnight, as you can see, and so we'll stay out here for as long as we can until we get cold, and we'll just kind of go around it, see what needs addressed first, start a few things, see if we'll wheel over, if pulled spark plugs, see if the carburetor's free, that kind of stuff. We're gonna start with seeing if we can get this spring back on this hinge because it's bugging me. All right, let's see. There it is. Whew. That's a strong spring. Now, was it off for a reason? Will the hood close and open still? Guess we'll find out. Hey, would you look at that? Well, putting that spring on at least lets the hood stay up now. But it ain't shutting properly. Just keep that in mind. There needs to be some hood adjustment. Woo! It popped off. I had a feeling. No, it did not pop off. Something happened. Let me set this thing down. So, looks like it was off for a reason. There's something wrong with that hinge. So, I guess we're back to the stick until we figure that out. Alright. So that didn't last very long. It was obviously off for a different reason. Something ain't sitting right on this hinge. I have to check into it. Or maybe it's just not pivoting where it should. Something looks different. That side looks different. Yeah, this mechanism is beyond where it should be. We're gonna have to fix that before we can even shut the hood now. All right, let's move on to other stuff. Grab a little PB. Let's just go ahead, soak everything. Let's go ahead and spray this throttle linkage. Let's just get everything good and wet. Okay. I can't believe that's free. Everything on this thing you think would be locked up is somehow free. We know this motor's free, so that's no big surprise. However, how free is free? It's the spot right there, and then the belt just slips. Maybe it's in gear. Oh, you big dummy, it was in gear. Let's see now. Well, it's got a couple of rougher spots, but you know, it goes past them. The belt slips on that water pump a little bit, but it is turning. Let's see what the oils look like. Oh, she's black, but she's full. Well, that's something. Figure out some socket. Let's pull some spark plugs. Let's check some things out. Spray a little stuff down in that cylinders. Why not? Can't hurt nothing. Oh yeah. Let's make sure there's not a bunch of dirt around that. Oh no, we're good. Let's see what it looks like. Is it just wet from the PB? Or did I just drop it in it? I probably just dropped it in it. Alright, let's see what we got going. 5, 6, 7, 8, isn't it? Yep. I don't want to mess up them wires because I don't really know the wiring order just yet, but they're put on that clip in order, so make it easy. Oh yeah, that one's great. Let's get her out of there. What we do? What we hit? That spot? Whew, that's not good. All right. Look at that. Well, that ain't good. You know what that means? And now I believe we know why it was parked. That sucks. That really sucks. Let's just go ahead and pull the other ones. Let's see. Maybe it's just the one cylinder. Maybe it's just the one cylinder. You know, I was curious if this motor would run, but I never had intentions on keeping it. So it's not the end of the world. I planned on putting something in this that'll be fuel injected, because I want to be able to go anywhere on these mountains and not freaking worry about altitude. Around here it goes from 5,000 feet to 12,000 feet. So our choices are get a motor for it for temporary, or stick it on the back burner until we find something for parts, fuel injected, that we can steal from. The rest of the plugs look alright. Well, I bet the top of that piston is beat to crap. I bet it is beat to crap. There's the top of that piston. Oh yeah, it's scarred to hell. And will a new spark plug make it run? With probably a low compression on that cylinder, I imagine, or a knock. But it might be fun just to hear it run. Let's pull the other side, see what it looks like. Let's see, are they in order? They are in order. Get off there. There we go. Slip. Alright. Well, at least we know all the plugs come out. So let's pull the air cleaner off. Hook some cables to it if that carburetor's clean inside. Maybe disconnect the fuel line so we don't suck up old fuel. And then let's just see if it'll whirl over. Alright, I got the oil bath air cleaner off. I don't know if you can see, but look how clean it is in there. Hopefully you can see. Alright, and everything's working. Let's disconnect the fuel line. Let's hook some power to it. Heck with it, let's go with it. This is just ready to whirl over. Alright, I pulled the fuel line off the fuels pump. That way if there's any old gas in this gas tank, we don't bring it up, put it in this carburetor. Don't count this engine out till it's running and knocking. Take all our precautions we can. Alright, we had a spark when we had power hooked to it last time. When we clicked the starter, could have been solenoid, could have been something else, so we're going to look into that next. I think we might be getting the starter to click now. So the starter is totally done for. I hooked battery right to the starter. It won't even click, just sparks. So we're gonna have to yank the starter off there and see if we can get it working. Otherwise we'd have to get a starter, and I'm really wondering if it's worth that, with knowing that that spark plug came apart inside that cylinder. This may be something that we just come back to when we have a new motor. We'll see. Kind of wanting to hear it run, but it's cold out here and I don't feel like laying around in the snow. Pull the starter off. Decisions. I guess if we take the starter off you'll see it. Otherwise you'll see it whenever we make a decision on what we do. Come back to you then. Alright folks, I was gonna pull the starter off, but these stupid headers have got to come off in order to get the starter off. So I started, and you can't get it off with the headers on. The headers have to come off. So I sprayed everything down with PB. We're gonna call it quits today, because I ain't doing it. Not today. What's up, girls? It's cold. I'm laying on snow, and I ain't tackling that today. So we'll come back to you another day when it's a little better. Cheers. Good morning, folks. So it's Sunday the 7th. We were going to work on the 66 today, but this happened. And it wasn't supposed to come in till tonight. So now we have decisions to make. I really need to build a shop. So we'll come back to you if we decide to work on it. Otherwise, I don't know. I really wanted to work on that today. I wanted to at least get it cranking, see if it would just fire. Alright, I know it's snowing. I said I didn't know if I was going to work on it out here, but I got to at least try a little bit. So the dilemma we have is the headers block the starter from coming off. There's just no room for the starter to come back. The headers are right up against it. The headers have to come off, or at least come loose, They don't have to really come all the way off. I'm hoping we can get them loose and it won't be too much of a fight. I've sprayed everything down with PB. It's been soaking for a day or overnight. So let's grab some tools and let's just go after it and see if we can get that starter out. And one more to go and all the header bolts are out. We'll get all the header bolts out. And that should give us enough room right there to get that starter out. Now for the bottom bolt. This one's already loose and loose. Now for the fun part. Let me see if I can get that header. I knocked you over. Let's see if I can get that header gasket out without ruining it. Maybe we can at least reuse it for what we're doing. But you see my dilemma, how they block the starter. All right, we'll come back to you when we get that done. Well, oh, we got it. We got it wiggled out. Let's grab our starter. Let's take a look at it. You know, this starter doesn't even look that old. It looks pretty dang new. There's the date code. The starter's the same year, a year before this truck was parked. So there's the date code. Looks like February 14th of 06. We figured the truck was parked in 07. They probably did all this motor work in 06, and then something just went bad with that one piston. Maybe they dropped something down the carb and didn't realize it, or down the intake. We do have a remanufactured starter because that one was just done for. You know, they say if it can come out of a hole, it can probably go back in a hole. Who says that? I say that. Which way did that sucker fall out? Is it this way? We're almost in. Something's binding. It needs to rotate. There it is. There it is in there for now. I don't have a bolt started yet. I think I'll just lay here for a while. Nope, can't just lay here. Let's get out. All right. Boy, I used to just fly out from underneath these trucks. Now I'm moaning and groaning. Sounds like I'm getting run over. Okie doke. I'll save you the trouble of watching me try to get a bolt started. We'll come back once I get 3 bolts started. Don't let me forget my ground. Well, I got that new starter in there. I think I've got all the bolts started. I've got my ground wire on. We'll go with it. I'm gonna get my gloves back on. My hands are for a reason. Yeah, popped off again. Alright, that one's in. I'm just gonna come at that one from the bottom. It'll be easier. I'll hit that battery cable too while I'm down there. Heck, I'll take you with me. Let's see. Well, hello there. It's a close-up. Alrighty. Hey, would you look at that? We got it tightened. losing that swivel. We had to go get that swivel last night. There it is. See you on the top side. Starter is in. Let's pull that bad plug out. Matter of fact, let's pull all these plugs out and then let's test that starter. Okie dokie. All the plugs are out. Let's see if the starter works now. Let me get my remote start switch hooked up and stuff, and then I'll come back to you. All right, I don't know what's going on now. Why didn't I test that starter before I put it in? That would have been the logical thing to do. What if I got sold a bad starter? Then I'll be chasing a problem. But I think we have a solenoid problem also. I just happen to have a new solenoid. I didn't go out and buy this. Well, I went out and bought it at some point for something. So we're gonna put it on and see if that changes anything. It's gonna be pretty stupid if there was nothing wrong with that other starter. No, we bench tested that other starter and it still didn't work. What am I saying? We eliminated it by bench testing it and it didn't do nothing. Have faith in what I'm doing. One second, guess it now. We could try replacing the ground wire on that starter if it still doesn't work. I want to see this thing crank over on its own. Let me clean that up while we got it off. Now she's shiny. Okay, so I had to replace all the ground wires for the battery and the starter. We had a locked up starter, so we replaced that. Still didn't work. Determined that the solenoid that was in here wasn't getting power to both sides. Replaced the solenoid. Then still wasn't getting anything on the starter. So we pulled off all the ground wires and replaced the ground wires. And I do believe now we have a starter. And look at that. All right, now we can finally move on, put the header back on, see if we have spark. If we have spark, if we're so lucky, we're gonna give it a little fuel. All right, let's see here. There's number one. If we're lucky enough to have spark, that'll help. We'll have to see. Look at that. See if you can see that. We have spark. We have spark. Let's put that header on. And let's get this battery charged. Okay. I'll come back to you once I have that header on. This way. We're only got a couple more hours of daylight. I said I wanted to hear this thing at least try to run at least once. We're giving it our best shot. We are going to give it our best shot. Okay, we got all the header bolts back in. I didn't tighten up the flange bolt back there, but it's okay. Let's disconnect our fuel pump, so we don't bring up, oh, it's still disconnected. Thought I slid that back on, but I just didn't want to bring up any old fuel. And let's put a spark plug in that one hole, number 6 cylinder that got hit, and let's just wheel it over and see if anything hits it. Let's sacrifice an old one first. Tell you what, before I do that, let's see if it's got any compression on that cylinder. I don't have a compression tester. Do not have a compression tester, like I said, or at least not all the pieces anymore because somebody borrowed it. Let's just see if it's got any blow off. It's got nothing on that one. That one's got compression. Either I'm not doing a good job at covering the hole. That one's got compression. I think this cylinder is totally boy, it ain't got nothing. All right, that's kind of what we figured. Number 6 is just out of compression, but what do you say we at least try? Huh? Heck with it. Let's do it. Let's make it fire off of that. All I want to do is hear it hit. That's all. So we're going to use these old plugs to start with, and we're just going to replace that one, and we're going to stick that new one on number 1 cylinder. Yes, I know I did not pull the valve covers. Maybe it has a drop valve on that. But let's just see if it'll at least hit before we go doing all that. Because if it'll at least fire today, I'll come back next weekend and pull valve covers, and we'll see. Maybe we'll just save this motor this summer. Maybe we'll tear it down. It's what we got. I got another 360 sitting in another truck here at the house. It's in a 68 Ford. It ran when it got parked here. It was the previous owner's truck. And when they sold the place to my wife, they just left the truck. They were using it to haul trash. She never used it. Okay. Full. Ooh. Look at that. Oh, just fell in. Look at that. See that washer? I happened to just see that sitting on the plug hole of number 1 cylinder. And I went to reach for it, and I knocked it in the cylinder. How lucky am I to get that out of there with a magnet? How lucky am I that I seen that? Back to it. Oh, we're gonna put a new one in plug 1 to increase our odds of firing. Okay. Let's get one new one out of the box for number 1. We're just going with hopes and dreams here. What's the gap? 32 to 36. That should get us enough to run on. Alright. Yeah, that one cylinder definitely didn't have any compression to speak of. Probably got a bad ring, but I would think it would still fire just like that. It'll just have a horrible miss. I think we got it right. Or I can be joining a fella on This and That in Garage with Dumas. Pull a Dumas move. Dumas moves are always fun. Then we're gonna go get some gasolines in a container. I've been watching This and That Garage too much. I'm over here going gasolines and carburestas and all things that are good. Let me get some gas and let me charge this battery up a little bit, and then we'll see what we can do. Okay, let's get this off of here. We got our fuel pump off. I smell nasty fuel. I don't know if this little container is going to work very well. Well, let's see what happens. Key on. Oh, we're gonna have to fix that. Let me grab a different battery and we'll come back with you. Let's see if that helps anything. hear tapping. And a little bit to grow on, like he says. Oh! Let's see. Oh, we're pumping fuel out. Fuel pump works. Let's stop that fuel line from pumping. Give me a second here. I'm gonna go grab a pair of locks so I can stop this thing from sucking fuel from the tank, because that fuel doesn't smell good. It actually doesn't smell horrible. What the hey? Let's just leave it on there for a second. Let's see. Boy, oh boy, 17 years. What's it gonna do? Might have flooded it. Well, at least we know the fuel pump works. We're getting closer. I've not done any work to this carburetor. I'm just literally trying it as it sits. Let's stop this fuel from going up in there. I don't like that old fuel. Be right back. All right, we're back. Went and got my homemade radiator hose or heater hose clamps. I'm just gonna pinch that fuel line so that it doesn't try to pump this old fuel in. There we go. Let's crank her over a little bit like it is. Trying. We may have to rebuild this carburetor some. Like I said, we're just pushing our luck on the carburetor that it even works, because I haven't taken it even off yet. Whew. Let's give her a good drink. It's a good drink, and a little grow on. Get out. Try her again. Uh-oh. Starter's getting slow and draggy. Let's give her a little more amps. We've also got a fire extinguisher standing by should things get stupid. Drink up my thirsty girl. Woo! Trying. I'd like to hear it run long enough to see if there's a knock. Woo! Get out. I wish I had something that just poured fuel a little easier. Let's pull a spark plug out and see how wet it is. Alright, I'm gonna come back to you after I pull the spark plug out, see how wet it is. Running out of battery. Oh, I see something here. What do we got going on there? What's supposed to be there? That could be part of our problem. There's something missing. That is supposed to be over that. Well, I guess we know we need a carburetor at least. That's the longest she's ran yet. Woo! I think with some new fuel, new carburetor, it would run. The carburetor's missing pieces, so I don't have extra pieces. Should we get a carburetor for it? Come back to this? I don't know. We're gonna give her just a few more tries, and then we're gonna call this a yes, it will run. Boy, it wants to. It really wants to. Hot dog, come on. A little more. That's it for today. We need to change fuel filter, and clean this carburetor. She's a runner. Well, that's it, boys and girls. I'm happy. She's a runner. We're gonna do some more work and we're gonna try to get it to idle so we can determine if it's got a knock. Maybe it'll run like it is. How crazy would that be? All right, folks. So I think we are at a stopping point. We know we need to change out the fuel in the tank, see how rusty that is. We know the fuel pump works. Fuel doesn't smell that bad, so that's a good sign. What else do we need to do? We need to change the oil, and we probably need to source a carburetor. This one's got some broken parts on it, dried out or something. I don't know. I'll look into it, see what can be saved. But we heard it run. Will it start? Using a key. This thing's been sitting for 17 years. Some of you people that are going to be watching this video will have drove past this truck frequently when you were here hunting Pleasant Valley, and I'm sure your curiosity has always been piqued by it. Let's make sure nothing's gonna fall. Let's get inside. Call it quits on that note. It is a runner. I can't believe it. Hey folks, that's a wrap on the 66 for today. We got it to fire. That was our goal. We know that cylinder's low in compression. We'll look into that. We're gonna go get a compression tester tonight, and we'll figure it out next weekend. Stick around, subscribe if you haven't already, hit the thumbs up, comment. We need a name for this old jewel. Let's hear them. Come on now. Next time we're going to change the oil. We're going to pull the valve covers. We're going to see if it is pumping oil up. Hopefully we'll have this carburetor rebuilt so we can get it to idle. And we'll put some antifreeze in it, see if it'll hold water, pressure test that. And we'll just keep ticking away at this little by little, weather permitting, until we have this thing roadworthy. So stick around. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Cheers.